All right, everybody, welcome to Fantasy Football Live with the Fantasy Sports Boss. Wanted to jump on to do like sort of an impromptu stream. Of course, tonight the regular stream is 7:30 Eastern time, the wrap-up stream, so make sure you tune in for that. Wanted to touch on the latest injury news, and also there's some trade deadline chatter that's coming out this morning as well. But before I go any further, make sure you hit that subscribe, hit the notification button. Got a lot of new subscribers today. The Isaiah Pacheco news, the video I put out just seconds after it was announced that he would be starting today, that video's already got over 1,000 views. So that quickly went wildfire, and that is the news of the day so far. Is that Pacheco, the 7th round rookie from Rutgers, will get the start over Clyde Edwards-Helaire today. And honestly, the writing has been on the wall for Edwards-Helaire ever, the last couple of weeks, especially. It just hasn't happened for the kid after being a first-round pick out of LSU. And certainly there was a lot of initial attraction to him because of Andy Reid's history producing multi-dimensional running backs such as Brian Westbrook and whatnot. But for whatever reason, it just hasn't happened. And so now the preseason darling Pacheco, who, I definitely threw cold water on that during the preseason because of CEH and Jerick McKinnon ahead of him on the depth chart. And also Pacheco was not utilized much at all as a receiver at Rutgers, and he still hasn't in the NFL. But he is an excellent pass blocker, and that's something that Andy Reid absolutely stresses when it comes to his running backs is you have to be adept at pass blocking. You got to protect Patrick Mahomes, and that is where Pacheco excels. And he also has proven himself as a runner as well. Certainly not as a pass catcher, but he's getting the start today, getting a slew of questions. Isaiah Pacheco or A.J. Dillon, Isaiah Pacheco or Melvin Gordon. I would start Isaiah Pacheco with a fair amount of confidence today. He's going to get the goal line work. Clyde Edwards-Helaire falls into that Antonio Gibson situation in Washington, where now he's the third running back on the depth chart. McKinnon is going to be the third down back. He's going to be the pass receiving back. He's going to be the hurry up offense back. Pacheco is going to start. He's going to get the goal line carries, probably the majority of handoffs from Mahomes as well. And Edwards-Helaire is just going to have to pick up the pieces. So all of a sudden now Edwards-Helaire is a borderline drop candidate. And certainly this week at the running back position, we've seen J.K. Dobbins go on IR. He is also a drop candidate. So some of the guys that we were depending on a couple of weeks earlier have now made their way to the waiver wire. Antonio Gibson is certainly in that group as well. Traded CEH and McLaurin for Kenneth Walker in London. I won that by $1 million. Yeah, you definitely won that by $1 million, Randy. I definitely agree there. I think, getting Kenneth Walker, Drake London hasn't exactly fired since the beginning of the season, but that's more by design of the offense. But certainly Kenneth Walker stands out to me. So I'm also going to check in on the 11:30 reports that come out about who's starting, who's not starting, and whatnot. It certainly looks like Keenan Allen is going to be a game time call. Recent reports are it's optimistic that he's going to be starting. I don't trust that entirely. There's still a long way to go before the game gets going. They have a bye next week, so the prudent thing would be to have Allen sit out for another week and rest up that hamstring so that way there is no re-injury, because he did aggravate it the other day, a couple of weeks ago. So it does make sense with the bye coming up to rest him. So that's something that we're going to have to watch, probably as we get closer to the 4:00 games. Now, as far as the trade chatter, Brandon Cooks is getting a lot of attention. And certainly teams like the Kansas City Chiefs, the Green Bay Packers, it would make sense for them to look at Brandon Cooks. I think Brandon Cooks, in the right situation, majority of teams in the NFL, he would be a very impactful receiver. He's starting to get dragged down by the ineptitude of Davis Mills. So if Brandon Cooks can find a home with the Packers or with the Chiefs, then I think he instantly becomes a wide receiver too. Ian Rappaport said that Chase Claypool's not expected to be dealt. That's another name that's been floated about, connected to the Packers, especially. So it doesn't look like Chase Claypool is going to be going anywhere. And, Brandon Cooks is more of a veteran. Claypool is still young, so that does kind of make sense. Sammy Watkins is available today from his hamstring injury. You're not picking up Sammy Watkins. There's no reason to own Sammy Watkins. Jahan Dotson will not play this week. He too had I guess you could call a setback with his hamstring. So Dotson will not go today. So Russell Wilson, partially torn hamstring. I don't think he plays next week. This could be a multi-week absence. It's all going to hell in Denver. I told you even before the news that Wilson was going to be out to bench all Broncos, including Cortland Sutton. Listen, Sutton is going to get Sauce Gardner today, the excellent Jets rookie cornerback who's already drawing Darrelle Revis comparisons. So Courtland Sutton is not going to have a good day, and that was even before we knew that Brett Rypien was going to be starting. Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler are getting attention on the trade front, but all indications are they're not going to go anywhere. And, honestly, Jerry Jeudy, when are we going to stop chasing this guy? It's just not happening. I know the Alabama pedigree. Alabama's produced some insanely good running backs and receivers over the last, 5, 6, 7 years, but Jerry Jeudy certainly not among them. Marvin Jones said he's playing today, so anybody that owns Christian Kirk, this is not good news. Christian Kirk has really fallen off the fantasy football map because of Zay Jones, because of an increasing usage with Evan Engram, and Marvin Jones, who balled out a couple of weeks ago and is still a big red zone target. So, for me personally, I had Christian Kirk in one league. I unloaded him this past week, and I don't regret it either. So just about 3 minutes away from the injury report coming out. Mac Jones will get the start Monday, it looks like, for the New England Patriots. So it is a bad weather game. I did release the weather video earlier in the day, the Chicago Bears and New England Patriots. You might want to think twice about starting Darnell Mooney, who already is a borderline guy, although he is coming off a good game. Jacoby Myers, I think he falls into that flex realm now, whereas he previously is a wide receiver 3 in PPR formats. All right, Matt Collins says he's going to play this week as well against the Titans. We talked about Keenan Allen. Rashad Bateman, there's optimism he's going to play. We'll find out in about 3 minutes if he is going to be out there. Hunter Renfrow with his hip injury is expected to play. Tyler Lockett also expected to go with his hamstring. So that's the injury news, the key injury news that we're looking at. And again, if you're new to the channel, guys, hit that subscribe, hit that notification button, because all the instant injury videos are going to be posted throughout the games. And then tonight at 7:30 will be the wrap up. So make sure you're around for that. Just about 2 minutes before the injury updates come down. But yeah, this thing with Isaiah Pacheco, it's certainly interesting. Clyde Edwards-Helaire wasn't wowing anybody, and I always come back and reference the 7 carries, 0 yards, 1 touchdown performance from I think it was about a month ago, and it just really showed you how ridiculously dependent CEH had been or is on touchdowns, and honestly, he's just not an impressive runner. He's an okay receiver, but Jerick McKinnon is certainly capable of being that receiving back, whereas Isaiah Pacheco, I think, is showing a little bit more in the run game. He's the much better pass protector. So Pacheco has earned this ascension to the starting role, and I think that I'm very curious to see what happens today. I'm also very curious about the Baltimore running situation. So Gus Edwards has been activated. He's playing today. You should pick him up where available. Kenyon Drake was a popular waiver wire addition this week. Justice Hill is also playing this week. I think Justice Hill has the greatest upside among those 3. It may not materialize this week. Kenyon Drake is not a bell cow back. I know he balled out last week, but Kenyon Drake is not going to be a thing other than as a supporting role, a bench player in PPR leagues. I think Justice Hill has the most long-term upside of the 3. I know Gus Edwards is a solid runner, has done good things whenever he's been on the field, but he is not a receiver. Justice Hill is. And I think Justice Hill has the best combination of receiving and running ability out of every Baltimore running back. Is Keenan Allen going to play today? It looks like he's trending that he will play, Trevor, but we got to check back. This is a game time decision. I still get the sense with the bye next week that they're going to rest him. But even if Allen plays, this might be a T. Higgins situation from a couple of weeks ago where he's going to get limited snaps. They're not going to rush him. Josh Palmer, of course, is not going to be available with his concussion. So Gerald Everett and Mike Williams, it's time for Mike Williams to step up and show some consistency. I'm really getting tired of his act. He's really got to start getting going, Mike Williams, and just show some more consistency with Keenan Allen being out. Slept in this morning, didn't get to pick up Pacheco. Yeah, I mean, listen, if you snooze, you lose, Lex. I hate to say it that way, but Pacheco, where available, that's the kind of a midseason difference maker that we talk about at the running back position. Very rarely do you get an in-season wide receiver that's going to make a difference. Happens a lot when it comes to running backs. There's always running back injuries and then the handcuff guys. And that's why I tell you, follow my handcuff videos every week because you want to stay ahead of the curve on that. Bucs defense or Patriots defense? Patriots defense is going to be a lot of rain there. It's going to be very hard for the Bears to move the football. Did I miss Pacheco by 12 minutes? Yeah, that sucks, man. I'm sorry to hear that. Expect to start, say Mike Edwards. All right, so the injury news is coming in now. Sammy Watkins is active. No big deal there. DeAndre Swift is inactive, so it's going to be another week for DeAndre Swift. I mean, how frustrating is it with DeAndre Swift? I mean, it really is. It really is beyond frustrating. He's just an amazing talent, and he just can't get ahead of himself. All right, Rashad Bateman and Gus Edwards are active, so Bateman can be put back in lineups as a wide receiver 3. Lamar Jackson, it's not a coincidence. His numbers dropped off when Bateman started missing games, and I think Jackson's going to be back in line for another 30-plus game, maybe 40-plus game today. CMC, Walker, Stevenson, sit 1 in PPR. Oh, God. CMC is playing today, so I think you got to play him. You got to play Walker. I think Stevenson is the sit because Damian Harris is back today. I want to see what happens there. Dylan, Pacheco, Kirk, Juju, start 1. Oh, my God. I'm going to start Juju Smith-Schuster. I don't trust Christian Kirk. A.J. Dillon is still putting up single digits every week, and Pacheco, I think Juju has a better path to more consistency. Rashad Bateman, like I said, is active. I'm just going through the list here. Nobody else has jumped out. Mark Andrews is active. We knew Mark Andrews would play. Mark Andrews is very durable, so I was never worried about Mark Andrews sitting out today. But like I said, I think the Ravens is a must-watch today just because I want to see how this running back situation shapes up. If Gus Edwards is available, pick him up. If Justice Hill is available, pick him up. You want to, be ahead of the curve because once this game starts, then you're not going to be able to get these guys until waivers. Dak Prescott active, CeeDee Lamb active, Dalton Schultz is active. So Dalton Schultz, who I do like as a bounce back with Dak Prescott back under center, I think he's going to be a very good difference maker the rest of the way. Dalton Schultz has been really rough going since Prescott's been out. If you are a Schultz owner, as I am in both of my leagues, I have him. Somebody dropped him in one league. I picked him up, and in the other league, I traded for him, and I still haven't seen a fantasy point since I traded for him. I have Justice and Gus on my bench. Yeah, Randy Miller, that's what you want to do. You want to start both. Not start. You want to have them both on your bench. Start 1, Brandon Ayuk, J-Rob, or Pierce. Ayuk, J-Rob, or Pierce. I would start Ayuk for sure. For sure, guys. All right, so that's all we got there for the injury report, guys. Make sure you tune in tonight at 7:30. I'm definitely going to go live for that. Hit the subscribe, hit the notification button. I'm going to be adding the instant injury videos as we go along, so make sure you look for that. We will talk soon, guys. Take care.